we invested heavily the second, we were able to. We were hooked from the second we saw it. We made a big decision, even before the game came out, that this was, unless this game was a disaster, which it had zero chance of being, this was going to be our main game.
Yeah, we knew immediately. We did not get into the esport immediately, but we were the first ones, I believe, to run a tournament.
So at that point, in the Misgift tournament, the viewership was awesome, the sentiment was awesome, people had a blast, and we were like, okay, we gotta get going here.
We were just waiting for the right opportunity and started out our core with Coach Chet and Daps, and brought over Sam, all of them from Counter-Strike, to start building out our team, and that's where we got our start.
They're going to be positioned on the map right in this moment.
Recon dart is good. Zebro goes 1-for-1. Aftershock pummeled in. Will deny the bomb plant a few more seconds and is slowing them down, is stalling them, but NRG will not be contained. NRG to the swords. But they may very well fall on it if they're not careful. Exceed and Som. The tailwinds used perfectly to get Som the hell out of trouble. And now goes back in for more.
That might be enough for you to put this map away. Daps, though, is going to have to find a couple of kills as the spike makes its way forward. The spike is going to be down. Daps has found a third. 2v3, but Kohler's on the back. He's going to find the first. Everything comes down to Wardell. NRG strike first, 13-9 on Haven.
Unfortunately, in First Strike, we didn't make it all the way through and qualify from that roster that are mainstays in the scene that were on that roster. So it was like a building period.
If he even gets one, it's so worth this game, and it's not gonna happen. NRG are eliminated, and they just looked unlike themselves.
We kept moving some pieces around. Eventually, we settled on our first sort of pre-franchising final sort of group.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, actually. We actually gave Josh RT and Zix their first jobs in Valorant, coaching-wise at least. Finally, we're boot camping. We had Tex and Ethan, obviously, and Psalm, along with bringing in Hayes to IGL. So that combo elevated the team a little bit. You look at all those names, and they all went on to win champs or VCT Americas. Really prestigious events, but we didn't have enough time together, I think, to really see it through. We lost in the final qualifier.
To the 1v1 attempt of a clutch from EU. Recon dart out, we're sticking on to the spike. We're trying to get the wall bang, and we will get it for EU. With the it's up to these individual duels, and it works out. Oh no, Vanity.
Oh, Vanity.
He's just playing around with it, playing with his food. And EU doesn't get the kill.
Partnerships started shortly after, and so every roster, just kind of blew up.
We're taking everything we've learned, adding in a few new ideas, and forming partnerships that will help us realize our dreams for the next edition of the Valorant Champions Tour.
Yeah, so we got the letter saying, okay, you've been selected to apply for franchising, and that was like game on. So we put together our internal dream team. We worked really hard. I have to say that was maybe the most fun and rewarding kind of group project that we did at NRG.
There's a ton of orgs interested. I think at one point there was 30 plus salaried orgs in Valorant Tier 1, Tier 2. Our approach was to build up a good team, which we did, over a couple years, while also doing a ton on the content side. We had a lot of big personalities come through NRG, starting with Ace, and we had Ethos and Flexinja and so many others. So, we focused on that. We focused on having a competitive team.
We had our history in there. We had a lot of information about the Shock, the San Francisco Shock, which was the winningest Overwatch team ever and had won a bunch of championships and built up this huge fan base, which still exists today, that we're very grateful for. But it was a good example of this is what we think we can do. This is our blueprint. We literally called it the blueprint, I believe. It took a long time, but we knew when it was done, it was really good. We were really proud of it.
And I think another big piece to it was bringing on Sapnap. So he was part of our pitch to Riot. He had a massive audience for Minecraft.
He submitted, and we waited and we were nervous. Then we had an interview. We made a special video for our interview, which was fun also. They literally said in our interview, that application was amazing. Like, that was the best one we received in the world of all the regions. And so we were like, oh, I think we got a good chance. But we didn't know, and we were on pins and needles until we found out, because this was it. This was going to be our game. We'd already invested heavily, and if we didn't get it, we were going to cry. I think it was probably a 3-point approach. One was competitive, and we were going to spend, and we were going to make sure that we were always in the mix. And if we weren't good, which we haven't been good sometimes, we've at least been a big topic of conversation. So we were going to be entertaining, which was the second point, which is content. We've always made content. We make our TikToks, our channels devoted 100% to Valorant. We have the Off Script podcast, which is a first and does extremely well from views, and it's pretty uncensored and timely. And the third is we wanted them to know that we're deeply engaged with the fans, because we are fans. So we hired people from the community to work with us. We have a ton of events. We have the NRG Castle, and that has been a great spot for fans to pick up and come and watch parties, and we go to the arenas and we give out stuff, and it's sort of always been about those three things.
On my honeymoon, when, you know, the decisions were being made, so I got some good news while on the honeymoon, so that was amazing. That was a fun memory that I'll probably always have. But yeah, it was a massive step for NRG. We came through and got the slot, so it was an awesome feeling.
So we wanted to win. We wanted to be really good in year one. So Jamie does his thing, works his magic. We get the Optic Core without Ye and Marved, and we bring in artists. He was the first European import to Americas for the VCT.
You know, we were only able to get part of that 2022 Optic team, obviously without Marv and Ye went to Cloud9. We were talking to him, and he had just decided, like, you know, maybe I don't want to play this first split or first year.
There was so much to work with from a content standpoint, from a competitive standpoint. You know, we came up a little short, but it was a fun year. It was crazy.
Hello everyone, and welcome to day one of Lock-In live in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
So to see them play was amazing. You know, the first event obviously was Lock-In. So we all went to Brazil. I was with the team, and it was single elim, super stressful, and you know, it felt like the end of the world if we were gonna lose there, honestly.
Swinging all the way through, they're just opting to try and play with the rifles, play with the spam, and here we go. Hoodie could have been a difference maker there, but it's just found. Tanuki, one shot found. Oh, right down to the 1v1. Spam angle found, and the swing is good. And this could get absolutely dangerous. Spamming into it one after the other. Infinite knows they're not there. The decay is fading. They need to take this fight, and they take it well.
Oh, come on, John. What is that?
Again, Wolfen instantly going to fight towards Som. Som yet to be cleared fully from this. Rez comes in, do they get a partner? Huge from Som! He has no idea, they already cleared it earlier, but Som's here. Perfect play from Som! Oh my God! Positioning divine!
Everything was, the stakes were so high. It was the first event, and you just wanted to get off to a good start. And then we ended up playing loud. There was like fans that could see us, and you know, they were chanting at us. I took a couple videos that were pretty funny. Artists commented on a bunch. That was an amazing match. One of the greatest matches in VCT history, I would say, honestly.
This NRG Loud rivalry, it spanned all of the pre-partnerships era. They're dead even, and it was the defining rivalry that actually culminated at the end of Champions. That's nasty.
And I think this matchup is even more exciting because it's single elimination. Only one of them can make it to the top 4.
Not relinquishing the angle either. This could be deadly though. Gap closed and Loud move in. Hey, you know what, we'll call it that. And well, we'll call this round done, because Tui's has got 3 on for the hat trick, doesn't get the 4th, and Crashies getting closer to players. Crashies turns! Got Tui's, what can you do with it? That's 1, needs a second, 1 more second to play with.
Gonna get him.
Oh, he's gonna be locked down, and Crashies is on the way. Knife in hand, he's gonna dice him up. Oh, in front of the home crowd. They've got to put everything into this or it's done for. Kawazine, he's trying so hard for his side. And the 1v1, Infinite.
Oh my God!
It's all but done. Crashies and the timing ain't there, and it's over!
My God!
Loud have poured their hearts and souls into this game. The crowd is...
We've always been in and around the center of a conversation. Like, it's pretty hard to think of any year and not think about something, whether we were winning or losing, that NRG wasn't, you know, at the center of attention. It was the beginning, I think, of sort of our identity.
Overall, if you look at that year, it was a fairly successful year. In Americas, we got off to a little bit of a slow start and were able to bounce back and make it all the way to the finals of Americas, qualified us to Tokyo. It was an amazing event and some memorable moments there with, you know, obviously Som's Cove incident. Never forget that, but it was just an amazing experience, and you know, we were definitely building towards hopefully a dynasty. You know, that was the goal. Just didn't work out. Obviously, we lost to Billy at Champs, and things kind of crumbled a little bit from there. But that's part of sports. That's part of competition. You know, it's not going to always go the way that you want. So you know, that was kind of like a little bit of a reset.
And Valorant is more than just a competitive team to us. It's been, you know, a big part of NRG's identity. As I said, like, this was the game we were all in on. And when people think of NRG, they think of Valorant for the most part. So we have always made a ton of content.
I think everybody is aware of like some of the amazing, you know, follow docs that we've done, that Aiden filmed. So those are amazing. Those are super high quality. We did all that.
We've always tried to like be funny, entertaining, topical, also very transparent about our team.
Social content with all the guys, had a lot of big personalities, so you know, it was easy to get those crazy funny moments.
We never want to float around the world of Valorant. Some orgs and some games, they're like, we're in the game, but you can't really tell because it's the same memes and the same stuff, whether it's a different game. For us, it's always been about the, you know, the true Valorant fan and you know, what they're experiencing with the game as the game is developing. And then our TikToks, which you've run, and we've had a great group there before with Flex and Ninja, Ethos and Joel's and others that have been super funny and fun and all the above, but always doing things, you know, in and around the Valorant world. So it's been important to have both the competitive and the content, which I think, you know, every org should.
Alright guys, welcome back to Valorant News. Another massive set of updates overnight, especially with regard to this NRG roster. Some big rumours emerging over the last couple of days that maybe Aspas and Sadak could be joining here. Don't be surprised if NRG Demon 1 is a possibility.
We were pretty set on making a couple moves. We actually trialed Narrate, Sadak, and Marv. So that was going to be our roster. You know, we got the news that, you know, the EG players are going to be available. That changed everything. You know, we felt like it was more than a super team. We felt like we were going to be unbeatable. Demon 1 was coming off being the best player in the world champion. Ethan, one of the greatest North American FPS players ever, in my opinion.
Ethan is the link. He's mild-mannered little assassin. He's amazing. His familiarity individually at Evil Genius with Demon 1, and then the guys had played with Marv before. So everyone had some experience with everyone. And we thought that would gel pretty well. It looked like it had a lot of potential. Obviously, it had a lot of potential to being a disaster too.
Literally win everything. That's what we thought we were going to do. We were feeling extremely confident.
NRG have come into this with massive expectations. Khalil, he will fall hard on it, and a shot fires.
Keeps him back, he's been tagged, he's triple facing. Another one falls.
Well, we started out pretty well in the first event. We made it to the final 4, I believed, and had to face off for Sentinels. We are on Sunset, I believe. Tens, you know, was boosted up on a box and got a 3K.
First trip cleared, the dog went all the way around the pillar! Tens does it again! Second once more, delivering for Sentinels!
We felt that if we won that match, the whole year would have been different. That kind of set us down a path of disappointment.
Expectations are sky high for this team, and they haven't lived up to it yet.
That was a critical turning point, and from there, you know, things just were not good internally, and you know, it showed on match day.
I'm not as close as obviously the coaching staff or Jamie, but they're in our facility, and you can see when the vibes aren't working. Changes had to be made, so people change, you know, skill sets change, people change, the game changes, and it's not, you know, gonna always work, and that roster did not. I think it was a super ambitious risk worth taking. It's like, hey, we wanna have fun, like we wanna have a blast. We want people to love NRG and watch us, whether they hate us or love us. We want to be, you know, part of the conversation, and we've always been. We're spending time, money, and effort to create these storylines, to create competitive rosters that, you know, are interesting. You know, it's not a bunch of guys who just are nameless, faceless, come in and they win or lose and they go home and then the org puts up a meme and a graphic. Like, we never have done that. Otherwise, why are we doing this? So this was definitely a definition of one of those teams.
Coming into this year, the 2025 season, we had another semi-rebuild. The plan was to continue with our veterans, Ethan, Sam, and FNS, and build around them and get some fresh talent. And that was the formula. And, you know, we brought in an amazing coach in Bonkar to put it all together, and it seemed to be working really well.
Wow.
One enemy remaining.
It's over? Is it over for real?
Oh, champion. Call him victory.
Trophy. Okay.
Give it to the rookies. The rookies get it.
You guys get
ต่อ 3 กับการว่าโยแมนเองเลือกที่จะเดินหาเป้าหรือพลิกมาจังหวะแรกเรียบร้อย
Once again, it will be an America's team crowned as the SVL champions here in 2024. NRG.
We won our first 2 tournaments, which you might have seen from the outside. Like, internally, it wasn't really clicking. So, you know, we made some moves after kickoff.
They're not letting go! NRG barely stop it, and Almada 1v4 facing the music, and he can't stand 100 Thieves 2-0.
It didn't work out. Honestly, it didn't work out. We failed to qualify for Masters. I don't want to speak for FNS on, you know, why he retired, but you know, I think the team itself was stagnating and maybe even going backwards at the time. Maybe that's where his decision came from.
NRG screaming with Scuba? Nah.
How can you scrim without an IGL?
That's what I'm saying. What the fuck are they gonna do without me?
Not going to be affected or flash. Argroves gives Brock a chance. Scuba towards A. Xander able to get 1 on the spam shot, but Brock for 4 in the round. Here comes the effort for NRG. Sam for the opener and the follow-up. Down from the heavens.
Scuba's fit right in, and Bonkar's back, which is great because we really wanted him to be our coach for the long term. You know, the 5 guys are playing really well together, considering they've, you know, played together for like a whopping 2 weeks.
Can't just always look to the established. It would not be smart to overlook the hungry players in Tier 2 that have been working to get their shots.
I'm speaking out of turn because I am no technical Valorant expert, but from what I understand, the role of the IGL now in this meta is different than the role it was a year ago or 2 years ago. You can see we lost a fair amount with Finesse, but Ethan's really good. And then we added a ton on the fragging side, so we're pretty hard to match up with.
We're just looking and hoping that Valorant scene and esports in general will continue to grow and become even more of a household kind of thing. We hope that the next generation of players and fans will be able to watch us play and continue to keep building this thing because we love it. We want Valorant and VCT to be here for well more than 5 years.
I'd love for people to think of NRG the second they think of Valorant or professional Valorant. What would I say to the fans? Well, outside of the cliche, thank you. Thank you for sticking with us. I would say I see you. We see you. Our social guys see you. I see you in the DMs. You know, this has been a game that's a little different from some of the other games we've been in that you can see the super fans, the fans that have been with us from the beginning of Valorant, even from the pre-franchising all the way through. I can see that they're still there. We hope to reward you with just something to talk about, something to entertain you, hopefully more winning than crying, and, you know, a future where it's just a lot of fun and the NRG family can come together and spend a bunch of time and have a good time. I think we've built a roster now and a vibe and a culture of that, and we look forward to just doing it again for another 5 years.